$10 to $100 to $1,000 to $10,000 to now we're going to be speaking about $100,000. If this is your first time on the channel, welcome. Thanks for being here. Thanks for supporting us. We appreciate it. Now let's go right into it. $100,000. Wow! If you, by some stroke of genius, raise $100,000, that's very good. It's best to know what to do with it because $100,000 today could be gone by tomorrow if you just buy that Lamborghini or buy that expensive car. And so it's best to know exactly what to do with it. This video is going to try and bring some ideas. I think the higher you get in terms of the sums of money you raise, the more stable you should be thinking in terms of your investment. I think you should invest in stable businesses, in stable ideas more as you get more money and reduce the risk. So with that in mind, I'm going to go into our suggestions for what to do with $100,000. Now with $100,000, the first thing for us, I think, would be for you to set up an emergency fund. An emergency fund, I mean, it's kind of like overlooked by everybody. Everybody overlooks an emergency fund, but the good part of an emergency fund is that when things happen, accidents happen, when problems arise, it's easier for you to solve those problems if you have a fund. I mean, a fund, most times people say you have like 3 months. If you're a working person, you have like a salary kept aside for 3 months. Some people do 6 months, but I'm very sure people like Bill Gates and Warren Buffett have like a large emergency fund in case of natural disasters and stuff like the pandemic we're still going through. I think they have emergency funds to last them years. So if you do have that access, you could set up an emergency fund that will last you for years. I mean, but first of all, you can set up a fund that lasts you for 3 months, first of all. But set up an emergency fund. You have $100,000. If you make $2,000 a month, set up an emergency fund for 3 months at just $6,000. If you make $3,000 a month or $1,000 a month, same thing. I mean, think of what makes sense for you. Set up an emergency fund or what kind of disaster or problem you could fix. I mean, with $100,000, it's best to go with like 10% or maybe 20%. So set out $20,000 for problems. Don't just keep that money in the bank. I mean, you can put it in a high yield savings account, you can put it in something so it grows as well. But you know that's an emergency fund, it's not really your investment per se. Now, with that said, the remaining money you have, you're going to use that. I think it suggests you use it to dabble into real estate. Now, real estate is very good. Sometimes it's overrated, sometimes it's a bubble. But I think it's a good thing to go into if you have that kind of money. I mean, with $100,000, you should be able to make your down payment easily. You should be able to raise funds easily to buy that house or to buy that commercial building, whatever comes to mind. But our first tip would be set up an emergency fund, then go into real estate. Next, beyond that, would be to dabble mostly into bonds now, more stable bonds. I think it's best you also look at stocks. So 3 things: emergency fund first, second, real estate, the third will be stocks or bonds, basically. I'm talking more stable investments because now you're getting higher. It's best for you to have more focus. And these ones are going to yield not so high like the risky ones, but they're going to yield some kind of stable income for you. And as more money comes, you invest in this way, have your own strategy and your own plan. It's going to work out for you. Now, we could go further and talk about $1 million, but I don't think most people are going to make up to $1 million. I think $100,000 is what is realistic for like the average person. I think people are going to sometime in their life, maybe stumble upon that or maybe have access to that. I mean, either by way of loan or whatever, but $1 million is quite there, it's quite beyond. So the series is going to stop at $100,000. I think you can do more, but this is going to help as well. Thank you for being here. I hope you enjoy more of our videos. See you in the next one. Cheers.